Hello, this is Mike Poore, and today is August 6th. And I wanted to get this message out as we kind of round out this week. There's a lot going on, and I know that there's a need for continual information coming to you. So we try to have that right balance of providing you information in a virtual world as well as in videos such as this. Celebration, our Teacher of the Year for Little Rock School District, Amber Harbin, who works from Forest Heights STEM, has become a finalist, one of 4 finalists for Teacher of the Year. I'm very proud of that because not only does it represent Amber, but it really represents teachers across our district. And I know Amber will want to say something similar to that as she gets to talk to people. It also represents a wonderful accomplishment of 3 straight years of having top 4s. Stacy McAdoo, of course, 2 years ago went on and became the Teacher of the Year for the state of Arkansas. Last year, Mr. Jeff Whitlow of Roberts Elementary was a Final Four, and now Amber Final Four. Wonderful accomplishment. Great way to start this message. The rest of our message is very serious and things that need to be covered and discussed. I want to make sure that everyone understands that this is the final week for parents to provide input into the selection of school choice delivery. The delivery is open in terms of an option until this Friday. This Friday, from that point on, you're locked in for a quarter at least, unless you have extenuating circumstances. What would be an extenuating circumstance? Maybe it would be a change of employment where instead of working in an environment, now all of a sudden you have to work from home. That might trigger the need to change your delivery with your child. Maybe you have an individual within the house that tests positive. That would obviously be a change that would need to be made to go from an in-house to a virtual. As it stands right now, we have over 15,000 families or students that have shared their choice. That means we still have approximately another 8,000 students that we still need to identify. Every time that parents make the choice, it makes things much clearer in terms of the work that we need to do next week in terms of preparing for both in-house and virtual learning. The numbers have changed and changed even from where I had projected or predicted. We thought that there might be 70% of the families in Little Rock wanting an in-school traditional setting about a month ago. That now has changed, and we have almost 53% of our families choosing a virtual option and 47% choosing an in-school option. The in-school option, by having it be 50% or less of those folks, obviously that helps us in terms of the work that we would do in terms of social distancing, setting up classrooms, and making assignments for staff. We will be working diligently with our numbers next week to create better information of where everything stands. So that's still to come. Right along with registration, we want to make sure that people understand that if you're a kindergartner, we notice that our kindergarten numbers are down. That might be because of concern. You still have a choice to be in virtual environment as a kindergarten parent, so please make sure that you register. If you're a pre-K parent, we've had a lot of parents say that once the virtual option went away, that became a concern and you're not even going to enroll. Will I be able to save my seat? Well, there's kind of a 2-part answer to that. One is there's the logistical answer that by rule, we can't keep you on the rolls if you're not registered. But we are keeping a list of all the families that have signed up so that we can continue to keep you informed as things change so that you can continue to look at Little Rock School District as your option for pre-K. We also have done really good work within our school district in terms of utilizing the care funding, and all those types of equipment and packages are starting to arrive. Many have already came into the district and more yet to come. What does that include? That includes laptops for all of our staff. They've been coming in for the past 3 weeks, and we're getting daily shipments, and we're imaging those laptops so that they'll be ready for staff to utilize and pick up. We've got Chromebooks coming in for students, and we plan to have technology available for every student that needs it in the district. Whether you're in person or virtual, you're going to need to have a tech device. Equally important is hotspots, and hotspots we've received great help not only from people throughout the state. Example, Fort Smith School District has really helped us in terms of negotiating prices to get hotspots, but we've also had tremendous help from our Chamber of Commerce and the City of Little Rock with James Reddish and Dr. Jay Barth. We are working on finalizing an order of 2,500 hotspots. We also got 500 hotspots from the governor's announcement on hotspots that occurred a week ago to have data plans for technology use. We know that that may not cover everything, and that is continued work not only with what we can do within our own school system to provide access at different spots, but also with the city, and those kind of conversations are rich and ongoing. We also have gotten in sanitizers and masks at mass quantities. I think our mask order was at 3.5 million. And all those things are either in the process of having been delivered or we do expect them prior to the start of the school year. You know, when you look at where we're at as a community and some of the things that we've done, we've got staff that are getting professional development training. We've got athletes back, and we even have some fine arts people coming back into working on getting ready for performances and getting ready for the football fields and the volleyball. And one of the things that we've learned, and this is actually happening also in the hospital world, that when we go and trace anyone that has actually came down with a positive case, most of the time we're finding out that is not happening because of the setting of the school, but it's happening in the context of social spread out in the community. So one of the things that we've really got to do is be disciplined. Now, the discipline can start right here within our own district. If you're an employee, you need to have your mask available and ready as you walk in the building, and you should be using your mask at all times when you're traveling throughout your building, and the only time you may not is if you're in your classroom by yourself or you're in your office by yourself, then the mask wouldn't be necessary. But the rest of the time, we've got to have masks on to protect each other. The same goes then of what we do once we leave. A good example of that is, you know, in the football field, I got calls from parents this week, several parents that said, man, we're so impressed with what the coaches are doing. And I give John Daniels and all of our fall sport coaches tremendous credit. But then they said, as much as good as going on in the field, as soon as the kids start to leave, they congregate and start to talk and communicate, get closer together, may not have their mask on. And that could be happening away from the school environment too. That's something that we can all work on in terms of our messaging and kind of follow up to make sure that everyone does have their mask on when it's appropriate, and especially when you're closer than 6 feet or you're in a closed-in space. We've got to have those masks. So please make sure that we are being disciplined. We also know that we have to be supportive of our nurses as we get ready to start the school year. And one of the best ways we can do that is making sure that we get our immunizations and wellness checks done. The medical community says that we're well behind on those things occurring, and our nurses also would quantify the number of immunizations aren't where they need to be. So please make sure that everyone takes care of that important responsibility for overall health. This past week I noticed that Dr. Romero also started talking about flu shots. That seems early. Usually we don't even think about those things until October, but I noticed that he's promoting that too. Again, another factor that we can go do to maintain wellness within our own community. Things that we can take control of. Last, I would share that the governor and the commissioner announced a hotline that's available. And the hotline is really an access point for people to ask very specific questions that can be filtered into the medical community in particular about questions that you have that are real questions that you have as a parent or as a staff member. That should not be a hotline used to go share your political views. I know I can't control that, but I can strongly suggest that. There are people that are working those hotline calls that are just trying to do their job and that are part of the Department of Ed or the Department of Health, and they're filtering that to the medical community with the real purpose. If you have issues that you want to bring forward in terms of the more of the politic part of things, or where you think about opening and closing and in tradition or virtual, send those to me, send those to the commissioner, send those to the governor, but stay away from the hotline. The hotline is used for real questions that you have related to what's going on in the medical science of this whole thing, and then allowing the State Department and the Health Department to respond in ways that we can all benefit from. So I appreciate your help and support on that, but I also appreciate your help and support on being disciplined with utilization of masks and social distancing, not just in our school environments. It's got to be much more than that. It's got to be out in our social environments, because we know that we've got to do everything possible to have school for our kids. they need us, and we need each one of our teachers. And so the only way we can do that is making sure that we act in a responsible way with health and with care for one another. I hope that this message has come across as being valuable to you. Please remember that this Friday is the last day for you to register your student for the choice of either a virtual option or for an option to do in-person school. We appreciate everything that you all helped us with over the last several months. We've got a lot of work to do over the next several weeks, and we hope you have a good weekend.